Let's short Tesla. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry for the long hiatus. I was kind of building my little studio here and I kind of got sidetracked and couldn't and didn't film for a while. But anyways, I'm back now. And in today's video, it's going to be part 2 of my day trading videos. In my last video, I kind of gave my opinion on what I thought about day trading and kind of gave the position that I don't believe you can become rich day trading in a short period of time. And I took a couple shots at some of these day trading gurus on YouTube. But anyways, in today's video, I decided to put my money where my mouth is and I'm going to be day trading. I realized I couldn't really give my position on the topic unless I tried it for myself. So to be kind of unbiased, I decided, okay, I'm going to give this a chance, and who knows, it may change my mind. So let's go over some of the rules for this trading video. I'm going to be trading for 1 week, so that's 5 trading days, and I'm going to be limiting myself to 1 trade per day. 1 trade meaning 1 position, 1 trade, basically 1 entry and 1 exit. So I'm either going to buy a stock and sell it in the same day, or short a stock and then cover it in the same day. And I'm only limiting it to 1 a day just for the sake of the video and not make it too long, because I do want to explain each and every one of my trades and the rationale behind it and why I decided to make each trade and what was going through my head at that point in time. So if I was doing more than 1 trade a day, I feel like this video would be over an hour long. So for you guys' sake and for my sake, we're doing 1 trade a day. I spent the last week looking at various trading tactics, various indicators, trying to understand them, looking at different price charts, looking at different pricing trends, you know, the whole thing. So I'm pretty confident in my day trading capability now, and I think I'm gonna be able to buy a Lambo next week. I even picked out the color. No, but in all seriousness, in this week, I'm gonna try to limit myself in terms of using fundamental analysis for my trades. I'm gonna try to focus solely on using technical analysis, because that's something most day traders usually do use, and they limit themselves on using fundamentals. So that's what I'm going to try to do, even though my expertise and whatnot is fundamental analysis. Oh, also guys, I'm not going to be getting rich because I'm actually using a paper trading account. Just a little secret. The reason I did that is because I didn't really want to move money out of my main investment account into another account just for this video. But who knows, if I change my mind on day trading after this video, I might actually move some money into a day trading account. Who knows? Anyways, that being said, let's get into it.
So on Monday, the first thing I needed to do was find a stock to trade. So I went on TradingView. They have this great part of their software, which is a screener. So basically you could see which stocks are making big price changes by the hour, by 4 hour, 5-minute changes. So it's great to pick out big stocks making big gaps up or down. And also you could add various other kind of like constraints and variables to your screeners to find stocks for different variables. So if you guys want me to kind of make a video about stock screeners and how to like screen for various stocks, let me know. But yeah, so that's the first thing I did. So after doing the whole process with the screener, I ended up stumbling upon Gamestop. When I checked it out, it was up 16% on the day. So I decided to take a look at the graph. As you can see here, when I took a look at it, it was making kind of like a upwards trend. So it was making higher highs, lower lows, creating this kind of upwards channel, which is always a good sign to see. Not to mention, you can see here the volume was kind of reaffirming the upwards trend, in the sense that on the upward ticks, there was more volume, meaning there's more buyers and sellers of the stock in the market at that time, which is always a good reaffirming. I saw that later the stock ended up breaking out of the range. So if I had extended these lines, you could see that this kind of broke out of this kind of range. So I feared that there potentially could be a pullback. And also, if you look at the RSI down here, it was showing overbought signals. It was towards the top of its range. So I was fearing a pullback. So I decided to take profits and get out of the stock. And I was curious, so I decided to continue to look at the stock to see if it was going to continue to trend upwards or pull back. And as I feared, it did pull back down. So overall, it was a good trade. Overall, on Gamestop, I ended up buying 150 shares at $5.45, and I ended up selling them at $5.83. So On Tuesday, I did my ritual again. I went on the stock screener and I tried to see any companies that were gapping up, and I stumbled upon Harley-Davidson. It was gapping up early market due to good news from management in their earnings call. So you can see here that there was a large gap up. I was kind of scared that I missed most of the upside potential just because I ended up starting to trade that day a bit later in the day. So I ended up just watching the stock for a little bit. It was trending upwards, but you can see here that it seemed like it was kind of pulling back. So I decided to see whether or not the stock would break my trend line, and if it did, I would buy a position because it was reaffirming an upwards trend. But unfortunately, I was watching for quite a while, and it didn't really gap above my trend line, so I ended up leaving it for a little bit. So later that day, I ended up checking back in on Harley-Davidson, and I saw that it kind of did gap up above my trend line. You can see here that this was my trend line, and it gapped above it. Also, it created this sort of double bottom formation. So it dropped down, touched the bottom, came back up twice. This is kind of a good indicator to see that the price is breaking out. So I ended up taking a position. So I watched it for a while after that, holding onto my position, and I continued to trade in this sort of trading range. So I continued watching it, but as soon as it broke out of the trading range over here, I decided to take profits, even though I did think it was gonna gap up a bit longer. But considering it was the end of the day, it was about an hour till markets closed, I felt a lot of day traders who were day trading the stock would be closing out their positions, pushing the stock lower. So I took profits. Overall on Harley-Davidson, I bought 35 shares at $21.89, and I ended up selling them at $21.01. So on Wednesday, I decided to repeat my process. I went on my stock screener to see if any companies were gapping up, and I stumbled upon Dave & Buster's. It was up about 10% early market, so I decided to take a look at the chart. When I took a look at the chart, it was kind of forming this wedge formation here. It had actually already formed it, and you can see the wedge is kind of like big volatile fluctuations going into a narrower range, and then ended up breaking out upwards, which is a good sign for a positive breakout. So I ended up taking a position. After, it ended up following this upwards trend for quite a bit of time, but it broke under my EMA line once, and it tapped my support line here. So I decided if it was going to break under, I was going to take profits or cut losses rather, but it didn't, and it gapped back out. It was making higher highs. And even though I was kind of predicting that it was going to continue to trend upwards, I decided to take profits just because it had already broken my EMA line once, and it was in terms of the RSI, it was kind of trending towards the oversold position. So just to preserve capital and to achieve my goal of being profitable all 5 days, I ended up taking my profits there. To conclude, I bought 50 shares of Dave & Buster's at $15.40 and ended up selling it at $15.67. Since the last 3 days, I decided to trade more big cap stocks that people know. I decided I was going to dabble in the other side of day trading, which is penny stocks for the last 2 days. I went on my screener. I kind of was looking at which companies were making the biggest price changes, and I stumbled upon this company, UAVS, or Agile Aerial Systems. It was up 83% in the first hour of trading. So I decided to take a look at the chart. So after taking a look at the chart, I could see here that it was trading in a very narrow range, making higher highs and lower lows, always a great thing to see. It was trending upwards in this channel, and also the volume was reaffirming the upwards trend. So I decided to take a look at the stock for a little bit, and I saw that it kind of tapped a support line and bounced back up once more, so I decided to take a position. So as you can see here, the stock ended up gapping upwards, breaking the trend line here, and breaking out of this channel, gapping upwards. This kind of made me uncertain and uncomfortable, just because it also broke out of the RSI, showing an overbought indicator. My thought process was this was a day trading stock, meaning it was this penny stock that mostly day traders were going to be trading, so they would be seeing this indicator, this RSI indicator as well, and they would sell off. So I decided I was going to take profits as well, because I didn't want any day traders tanking the stock for me. And a little bit later, you can see here that the stock kind of tanked. So my trade rationale was kind of good, and I ended up trading at a pretty optimal position. To conclude this trade, I ended up buying at about $4.37, and I ended up selling at $4.98, and I bought 230 shares. So that was my single largest profit making day of the 5 days at about $140. So on my last trading day, Friday, it was kind of difficult to find a stock to trade just because it was an overall down day. So I went through my usual routine. I went on my stock screener, and I ended up stumbling upon MDGS or MDGS, which was trending upwards, making higher highs and lower lows, which seems to be the kind of indicator and pattern that I love to follow and worked the best for me in the last 4 trades. I watched the stock for a couple minutes. I saw that it tapped the support line and bounced back up once again. So I decided that was my confirming. That was kind of like the confirmation of the upward trend. So I ended up taking a position. Again, if I was using my actual money or my actual real money, I wouldn't have traded on Friday just because it was an overall down day, and I wouldn't have felt comfortable buying and selling in that same day, regardless of the stock. I may have shorted that day, but I definitely wouldn't have bought and then sold. But since I was making this video for the sake of a video, I ended up forcing this trade. The stock continued to trend upwards, as you can see here, but it started getting closer to the overbought area on the RSI, and also the stock started to consolidate, meaning the upwards trend was less pronounced. You can see here it started to make more of a horizontal pattern, and it was kind of trading in that horizontal channel. So this is kind of an indicator of potential reversal going back down. So I ended up taking profits around here, and it ended up being a good overall call, just because the stock ended up tanking back down to about 430 later that day. To conclude this trade, I ended up buying 245 shares at $4.80, and I ended up selling those shares at $4.91. It wasn't my most profitable day, but I was still profitable nonetheless, making my 5-day trading adventure 100% profitable.
So let's conclude this video. Overall, I made 23%. That's before transaction costs, because I was using a paper trading account. But regardless, that's a phenomenal return for a week of investing. Just to show you guys a figure, if I consistently made 23% every single week for a whole year and compounded my returns, I would end the year with a little bit more than $47 million. Again, that's more of a mathematical perspective using the statistics, but it doesn't really take into account any of the transaction costs and the potential alpha we'll be losing by moving markets with trading millions of dollars. But again, it's still putting it into perspective. So, the big question, has my opinion on day trading changed? The short answer is no, it hasn't. I've only been trading for a week, so only 5 days of trading, and even though I was profitable all 5 days, which is already statistically crazy, that's only about a 3.1% chance of that even happening. The statistical chance of me continuing to be profitable is going to be exponentially less. So I believe if I keep going trading 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30 days, and I just keep going for the rest of the year, I will kind of, there will be days I will be losing money, and that's inevitable. It's statistics. Again, it's not impossible that I will never be unprofitable, but it's highly likely. And also, obviously, I'm no pro trader, no trading guru. I don't know how to spot every single price trend, use every single indicator. But while I was trading this last week, even though I was using indicators, I kind of had a little bit of a rationale behind each one of my trades. It seemed like a lot of guesswork. I felt like a lot of times when I entered and exit, I was like, oh, this kind of feels right, let me just do it. It's more there's no fundamental or no significant backing to it. Again, I was using a little bit of technical analysis. I did use some trend lines, whatnot. But at the end of the day, it seemed very, very luck oriented. I just got in at the right time and got out at a pretty good time. That's pretty much all it felt like. this type of trading or this type of investing doesn't sit well with me, just because I'm more of a fundamental analysis or more of a Warren Buffett type trader. I wouldn't say that. I guess I'm more aggressive than him, but anyways, that's a totally different video. But I believe more in investing in companies, understanding a company, making sure the management's good, making sure their financials are good. So I'm not taking any risks investing in a company, and if I am, it's going to be very little in comparison to something like day trading, which seems to me like just shooting a dart at a dartboard with your eyes closed, right? So again, that's my opinion. There's people out there that'll definitely go against this or go against what I'm saying, but again, different people have different opinions. But hey, this experience kind of opened my eyes to the world of day trading, and I found out it was somewhat enjoyable. So in the future, I may actually put some money into a smaller account, but may end up doing a little bit of day trading just when I have some time, or just when I'm a little bored, or I see some big market moves. Who knows? So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button. And if you guys want to see any more videos on investing, business, lifestyle, subscribe, because there's many more to come. Peace, guys.